All right, let's talk about Dr. Eric Berg's number one, single biggest secret for weight loss. And you know what? It's an idea that pretty much flips everything we've been told about dieting completely upside down. So let's just dive right in.
You've heard it a million times, right? Eat less, move more, count every single calorie. But what if that's just not the whole story? I mean, what if it's not even the main thing driving weight gain? What if the real secret to finally burning off that stubborn fat, especially around the belly, has nothing to do with calories at all?
So here's the answer. According to Dr. Berg, the number one thing, the absolute most important factor for losing weight and burning fat is reducing insulin. That's it. It's not about calories, it's not about logging hours on a treadmill, it's all about this one single powerful hormone. And once you understand how it works, well, that's the key to everything. Okay, so let's get into it. The real key to weight loss. And, spoiler alert, it all comes back to insulin.
So, I want you to think of insulin as a kind of gatekeeper or maybe a bouncer for your fat cells. Every single time you eat carbohydrates or sugar, your body pumps out insulin to deal with all that incoming energy. But, and this is the part you really got to get, when insulin levels are high, it slams the door shut on your fat cells. It literally locks them. Your body gets stuck in fat storage mode, and that makes it physically impossible to tap into your own stored body fat for fuel. You just can't do it.
Which brings us to the big question. Why is belly fat so darn stubborn? This is where we need to talk about something called visceral fat.
Now, according to Dr. Berg, that belly you can see, it's not just, flab. It's a huge sign that you've got visceral fat. And this stuff is the really dangerous, inflammatory fat that's wrapped all around your internal organs, especially your liver. So this isn't just about how you look in the mirror. It's a health issue, and it's a direct result of having high insulin levels all the time. Okay, but here's where it gets really exciting. The good news is that you can turn this around, and you can do it fast. I mean, really fast. Studies show that just by cutting your carbs, you can slash the fat on your liver by up to 50%. And get this, in as little as 2 weeks. That's how incredibly responsive your body is once you just get those insulin levels down.
And this is why so much of that old diet advice we all tried just didn't work. Remember being told to eat 6 small meals a day? Well, all that does is keep your insulin spiking constantly, all day long. And what about starving yourself on low-calorie diets for years? Dr. Berg says that actually wrecks your metabolism. It basically trains your body to run on fumes, making it almost impossible to lose weight later on.
You can see how this creates a really nasty, vicious cycle, right? You eat carbs or sugar, boom, your insulin spikes. That locks up your fat cells, so your body can't access its own energy. And what happens next? You feel tired and hungry again. So you reach for more carbs, and the whole cycle just starts all over. It's a total trap.
All right, so how do we break this cycle? It starts by getting rid of the worst offenders, the things that spike insulin the most. Let's look at the 3 big ones to avoid.
So Dr. Berg calls these the 3 hidden enemies. First up, industrial starches. We're talking about things like maltodextrin or modified food starch. They're in everything as fillers. Next, seed oils. Soy, corn, canola oil. And finally, sugar. But, and this is important, he says this also includes artificial sweeteners like aspartame, because they can still mess with your gut health and cause problems.
And this right here is such a critical point. You might see a label that proudly says no sugar added, but then you flip it over and see maltodextrin in the ingredients. Well, guess what? That industrial starch can actually spike your blood sugar even more than regular table sugar. It's one of those hidden ingredients that just keeps that fat-storing cycle going.
Okay, enough about what not to do. Let's get to the good stuff, your fat-burning plan. This is the actionable part, how you actually start lowering that insulin.
So the very first principle of this whole plan, it's not even about what you eat. It's about when you eat. The goal is just to give your body a break. A real break from constantly pumping out insulin. And the best way to do that? Intermittent fasting. And look, Dr. Berg's way of doing this is super simple. He says just start by skipping breakfast. But, and this is a big but, only if you're not actually hungry. The whole point is to start listening to your body's real hunger signals. And probably the most important rule of all? No snacking at all. Every time you snack, you're causing another insulin spike. So just stick to your meals and let your body have that time in between for insulin to finally come down.
Okay, so once you've got the when figured out, the second part of the plan is to change what you're eating during your meals. The goal here is simple. Fill your plate with foods that are super nourishing but have little to no effect on your insulin levels.
What we're talking about here is power proteins, really high-quality, nutrient-dense stuff. Dr. Berg actually calls grass-fed red meat his #1 superfood because it's just loaded with nutrients and has 0 carbs. Then you've got eggs, which are like a complete food, plus they have choline, which is great for your liver. And of course, fatty fish like wild-caught salmon, with the skin on, for that amazing protein and healthy omega-3s.
Now, this next part might sound completely backwards, but stick with me. To burn your body fat, you actually need to eat more healthy fat. Why? Well, for one, fat has basically 0 effect on your insulin. It also keeps you feeling full and satisfied, which makes fasting a whole lot easier. But most importantly, eating fat teaches your body to become fat adapted. That just means it learns how to switch its main fuel source from sugar over to fat. And once your body makes that switch, it can burn the fat from your food and then seamlessly switch to burning the fat right off your body.
All right, you're doing great. Now let's talk about how to supercharge your results. There are 2 other things you can do that will just dramatically speed up your progress.
So once you have the food part dialed in, that's your foundation. But you can really take things to the next level by focusing on how you move and how you recover. And this is where exercise and sleep become absolute game changers.
But here's the thing. It has to be the right kind of exercise. According to Dr. Berg, that long, slow, grinding cardio can actually raise your stress hormones, which isn't what we want. Instead, he suggests short bursts of high-intensity interval training, or HIIT, just a few times a week. That really stimulates fat-burning hormones. And you combine that with long, relaxing walks to help lower stress. It's all about working smarter, not just harder.
And this might be the biggest surprise of all. Most of the fat you burn isn't torched at the gym. It's burned while you're sleeping. Seriously. Nighttime is when your body does all its repair work, and it's when your key fat-burning hormones are at their peak. If you're not sleeping well, you're going to have higher stress, which means higher insulin, which means your weight loss just stalls out. Dr. Berg says fixing your sleep is absolutely non-negotiable.
And this really sums up the entire philosophy, doesn't it? If all the conventional advice is telling you to fear fat, eat constantly, and count every calorie, Dr. Berg's take is just do the exact opposite. Embrace healthy fats, eat less often, and focus on your hormones, not the numbers, because that's what actually works.
So what's the big takeaway here? It's actually really simple. If you want to unlock your body's natural ability to burn fat, you have to get your insulin down. And the way you do that is by changing when you eat and what you eat. It's a total rejection of the old broken rules of dieting. So the only question left is, are you ready to ignore them?